If you aren't subscribed, get subscribed and turn on all notifications so you never miss a brand new video here on my astrology YouTube channel. Now, before we get into today's main content discussing planet Mars and its transit into a whole new zodiac sign, I just want to quickly mention that I do have a Facebook group community, and the link is posted down in the description down below. What's truly and honestly amazing about my Facebook group community is I kind of consider it as my storehouse for all of my proof, receipts, timelines to fully back up all of my predictions and my insights. Because I truly get it that so many people all around the world, they don't really fully believe in astrology. They don't really get it. And they think it's some sort of pseudoscience, but it's not. And so what's amazing about my group is that you can actually go back many years and see all of my predictions that were spot on. So for example, I have predicted the health crisis of 2020. I predicted that several months before it actually transpired. I have also predicted specific presidents that came into presidency, again, several months before it actually happened. I have also predicted specific wars that broke out on the same day, several weeks and several months before it actually happened and transpired, and so much more. And so I have nothing to hide. I am uber committed to being one of the most transparent and honest astrologers on today's market. And again, the link to that group is in the description down below. Also found down in the description down below, if you are really needing an astrological chart reading and consultation, you can actually book that reading with me by sending me an email. My direct email is always posted down in the description down below. It's really funny because I was talking with a complete stranger the other day. They were asking me what I do, and they asked me the question, they asked me, does astrology actually work? And I responded, I said, well, if astrology didn't work, then why do people in world governments come to me for readings? And it was just crickets after that. So I'll just leave it on that note. And with that said, let's jump in today's video. So planet Mars, it's a very hyper masculine planet. And keep in mind, when I'm talking about masculine, I'm not talking about genders. I'm talking about energy. So we are all born with different energies. We have feminine and masculine energies. So planet Mars, it deals a lot to do with physical movement and action. It's all about getting things done and getting things done very quickly and very fast. And when Mars doesn't get things done very quickly and very fast, it becomes very impatient, and this can really heat up Mars, and this can lead to anger, rage, hostility, and aggression. Planet Mars in astrology is considered the god of war. So moving ahead, planet Mars will be entering the water-based zodiac sign being Pisces this week, actually, of April. And as you can see on the screen, planet Mars will be in Pisces for the whole month of May, and it will technically shift and change zodiac signs June 1st. So I do want to emphasize this point that Mars does not feel comfortable in water-based signs, especially Cancer and Pisces, but especially Pisces. So the strength and dignity of Mars actually becomes a lot weaker and weakened, and it becomes very soft in the water-based sign of Pisces, which is very important to mention here. So the last 2 weeks of April and then the first week or so of May, there's an important conjunction forming and happening during this time frame that I just mentioned. So Mars will actually be conjunct planet Neptune. And from an astrological standpoint, this is strongly indicative of, I just feel like there's a lot of deceit, deception, lies in the air. So all the way from the media and the news outlets to even personal matters and personal affairs in your own individual reality. Try not to be so quick to jump to conclusions, and don't really fully accept everything at face value. During this time frame, the end of April and then the first week or so of May, things aren't what they seem to be during this time frame, and that's really what you need to know during that time frame. Because again, I do feel like there will be a lot of deceit and deception brewing in the air. Now, what's also interesting during that time frame that I mentioned, I do feel like oil and gas prices will be impacted negatively. So therefore, I feel like gas and oil prices will most likely increase. I see this all the time on an astrological level. Many times when Mars conjuncts Neptune, this can actually raise gas prices because planet Neptune does rule oil and gas, and Mars is the activator. It's the triggering energy. Now, on the other hand, I do like to talk about positive elements for different astrological energies and conjunctions. So during the time frame that I just mentioned, the end of April and then the first week or so of May, it's really important to engage in more physical, spiritual practices, because there is a very powerful and very profound energy during that time frame. So all the way from Tai Chi to Qigong, Ashtanga Yoga. If you've never heard of Ashtanga Yoga, if you've never done Ashtanga Yoga, it's one of the most physically demanding forms of yoga out there. It's very, very intense. Even hiking or even journaling, you just got to keep moving. And even journaling can be a little physically demanding at times. You're doing a lot of writing, you're brain dumping, but there's this strong spiritual energy during that time frame. So Mars in Pisces, it creates this spiritualizing effect. So there's this spiritual, mystical energy in the air during that time frame. Try your best during this time frame to just simply keep moving, because as I mentioned at the beginning of this video earlier, Mars loses strength in Pisces. And so because Mars deals with our physical energy, physical movement, I see this all the time, and I hear this even from clients, that when Mars goes into Pisces, human beings can actually become a lot more lethargic in nature, and they become a lot more tired and fatigued. The ironic thing about energy is energy doesn't actually come externally. Energy is actually ignited internally. And so in order to actually get more energy, you don't have to seek externally, you just have to seek within, and your energy will start to raise. It's really cool. So furthermore, talking about that time frame with Mars conjunct Neptune, I do strongly predict, unfortunately, that the world will see even more patterns of heavy rains and storms, anything related to water, because planet Neptune is the god of water. It's the god of the oceans. It's the god of the sea. It deals a lot to do with liquid, but especially water. And then on the other hand, Mars is the activator. So Mars activates these watery type of weather patterns. Now, the last 2 weeks of April and then the first week of May, transiting Mars will actually, furthermore, in addition to that other conjunction that I just mentioned, Mars will actually be conjunct another important event, which Mars will be conjunct a very intense and very dangerous fixed star. It's one of the most dangerous fixed stars that we have in astrology. So during this time frame, the world can expect to experience several catastrophic events and fatalities and casualties, unfortunately, because that fixed star is very dangerous and very intense, very volatile. So for example, I feel like this could ignite and trigger natural disasters, to more intense weather patterns, to a lot of severe accidents. So whether it's car related or otherwise, accidents can come in many different forms and fashions. And I also feel like there will be more violence and more aggression and crime, because this is just a very scary, very dangerous time frame, with transiting Mars conjuncting, forming a conjunction with that dangerous fixed star. So all in all, be safe, use your best judgment, use caution, don't participate whatsoever in any chaotic or any criminal activities. Just use your best street smarts. If you have to, just stay at home and don't engage in anything that deals with rage and lashing out your anger out in the public, especially because it's gonna get really heated up here. So starting May 4th to the end of the month of May, Mars will also be conjunct a completely different planet. That planet is the north node of the moon. And I also feel like this will therefore add more fuel to the fire, in which this will stir up a lot of more war, violence, aggression, hostility, rage, and crime. So again, at the beginning of May, things really kick off with a big bang, and it's going to be a very, very intense, very fiery month. Again, that is all happening in the month of May. So again, the social climate, I really want to stress this point, during the whole entire month of May, really, it's going to be a lot more explosive and it's going to be a lot more fiery. So as most of you already know, tuning into today's video, with the current world affairs right now, with all these different countries at odds and at war with each other, I do feel like everything will start to heat up even more during the month of May, and then therefore the energy will become obviously even more vicious, more intense, and more dangerous. So this in turn will obviously trigger even more protests and riots, possibly more likely very dangerous and very intense protests and riots, and therefore people will be becoming overly emotional and very much filled with a lot of anger, rage, and hostility. Specifically, a lot to do on a humanitarian level, because Pisces is one of the most humanitarian zodiac signs that we have in the whole entire zodiac belt. Furthermore, Pisces, if you don't know this, it's actually one of the most sensitive and one of the most emotional zodiac signs in astrology. So that also helps explain why I'm seeing all of this emotional energy. And not only that, Mars in Pisces, I also feel like there will be a lot of passive aggressive behavior being displayed, unfortunately. Passive aggressive behavior, it doesn't accomplish anything. It only just creates more frustration, especially for the other party. If you've experienced a lot of passive aggressive behavior in your life, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So there's a lot to unpack here, as you can imagine. It's going to be a very intense time, but especially in the month of May. And if you found today's video helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. It's one of the best ways to support my channel, as well as hitting the like button below. And again, if you are really needing an astrological reading with me, I'd love for you to send me an email to schedule and set that reading and consultation up with me. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video to come.